Welcome back everyone. It's been a long time since I reviewed any autobiography or biography or memoir, and this time I am going to review a memoir, an extraordinary memoir, which the kind which I don't think are written oftentimes. And the name of this memoir is An Ordinary Man's Guide to Radicalism, and it's written by Neyaz Farooquee. Now, the name of this book suggests that this is a book that is an ordinary man's guide to radicalism, and it is something that is, I would say, that evokes a meaning that it is something related to terrorism and radicalization. Whereas this book is a satire, in a way, a satire on people who think that every Muslim person in this country is a terrorist, a person who's complicit in terrorist activities, and that is one of the reasons that the person who's written this book is obviously a Muslim, as the name suggests, but he also wants to make us realize this, that every Muslim person in India is not a terrorist. Now, the author of this book, Mr. Neyaz Farooquee, is an author, of course, and he is a journalist who has worked with Hindustan Times, and he has written for the New York Times and Al Jazeera, Caravan and Tehlka. Now the book opens with the childhood of the author. As this book is a memoir, so the author has started the book with his childhood. He lives in a village in Bihar, and the name of that village is Inderwan Bairam in Bihar's Gopalganj district. Now in this chapter he talks about how his grandfather used to teach him everything, ranging from something that's related with Muslim religion, but also things that were related to Hindu religion, and also so many patriotic songs that glorified India, which is contrary to the popular belief today that Muslims do not say Bharat Mata Ki Jai, or they refrain from raising slogans that are that glorify India. And his father is a person who works in the Middle East somewhere, and does not stay at home for long times, and that's why his grandfather is in charge of these children. Now the author is just 10 years old when he shifts from this Bihar village to Delhi and starts his schooling at Jamia School. Now things pass, and he is getting a good schooling at Jamia because it certainly provides a very good quality schooling, but things change when in 2008 an encounter takes place. That is the Batla House encounter case, a very infamous case. There are so many versions of it being, the police says it was a fair and real encounter, and there are so many people who believe that it was a fake encounter where somebody was just shot so that they could show that the culprits who had some links with terrorist activities were shot. Now the persons who were shot at Batla House were the immediate neighbors of the author of this book, and he was a person who was a college student at that time, and he studied at Jamia Millia Islamia, and this led to this fear among a lot of people in the vicinity that they would be labeled as terrorists. And this book is also an account that tells that the kind of reportage that we see today, that communalizes everything and labels Muslims as terrorists at every given opportunity, was the kind of reportage that was seen during the time of these encounters. The author says that every news channel, even NDTV, the kind of news channels that we think today are far better than the ones that just report anything to get TRPs, even they reported that these people were terrorists even without having any evidence that they were terrorists. They believed the accounts that were told by the police and allegations that were hurled at these people by the police, and no evidence, sufficient evidence to prove their identity as terrorists were um, were put out in public. Um, Now the book discusses a lot of changes that occurred in the lives of the people living in Jamia Nagar, and the nearby vicinity, which was essentially a ghetto of Muslims who lived in Delhi. Now there are a lot of things that happened, that people would not let their children out of the houses after the sun was set, or people would now whisper to each other and not be talking as loud as they would be speaking to each other, because you never know who was eavesdropping on you, and you might get in trouble. Now this book is essentially a kind of book that one has to read to get over their own prejudices that we might have, that a person from a particular religion will be a person who will be engaged in some terrorist activity. Most of the people from any community in India are the ones who are poor, struggle every day to live their lives, struggle every day to ensure that their children's future are better than theirs. They are not the ones who can harbor terrorism, and certainly not a whole colony. Now this labeling of the whole vicinity as a place where terrorism is harbored by the media is also something that's called out by the author over and over again. And he also talks about how the politicians of the times would not even nobody came to the area to even give a fake assurance that justice will be provided. This is the kind of victimization that people had to face, and people still face, if they belong from a minority community, if their votes do not matter as if they had been from the majority community. I recommend you to read the book, to listen to a side of the story that's told by a man who has faced social prejudices based on people's opinions that are largely created by hatred and polarization in the society, so that we can overcome these prejudices. There is no religion of terrorism, and with that I would request you to read the book. I like this book. I hope you too will. Thank you very much for watching. Please share it, like it, subscribe. I'll be back next Sunday with a new book review. Thank you very much for watching.